Hi, Matt. This is my second response. First, I want to set aside the strictly factual claims that are being made by Gaia theorists. I'm certainly not disputing the validity or the importance of these new theories of ecology and embodied cognition. If they aren't mainstream by now, they're at least serious contenders in the scientific community. What I am trying to point to is their interpretation into what I'm calling the New Age ecological narrative or mythology, which shows up in popular culture and also in some academic work, what I referred to earlier as the prodigal son narrative. I think you'll accept that this is distinct from the raw scientific data about the Gaia hypothesis, although I do think Gaia theorists are responsible not just philosophically and academically for their work, but also how their work plays out in the larger culture. When Lovelock publishes a book called The Revenge of Gaia, he's adding an interpretation that is somewhat distinct from the factual content, and it's worth questioning whether that interpretation is useful or not. Now, I don't have a problem with mythology as such, since I completely agree with you that it's essential and ultimately unavoidable. What I am saying is purely pragmatic. This particular narrative, the prodigal son narrative, even though it is compelling, isn't necessarily the best one, and I think it has some serious drawbacks. In particular, I think the type of activism that it motivates is almost completely ineffective at this point. And the response to this failure is to blame the media, blame the right wing, the corporate, oligarchs, global capitalism, and then repeat the same mistakes. When someone like Zizek critiques the narrative and suggests a different approach, he's vilified as the enemy who doesn't get it. And this is a very narrow dogmatic perspective, and I don't mean dogmatic about the importance of addressing the crisis, but a dogmatic insistence that this particular narrative about the crisis should be the guiding one. I think a better narrative would be to interpret the Gaia theory and related ideas as a post-Cartesian paradigm that transcends and includes the Cartesian one, rather than being anti-Cartesian. I think we should reject explicitly anti-Cartesian perspectives as being too narrow, too partial. Looking at it this way, the new paradigm actually does what Zizek suggests, that is, alienate us further from nature, because by assuming the interrelatedness of subject and object, we gain an even greater control and understanding of our world. In a way, through the necessity of creating a more adequate science, we now have put ourselves under the microscope, along with the rest of nature, while paradoxically also maintaining the privileged position of disembodied observer as scientists, as thinkers, and as philosophers. As kind of a sidebar, I noticed in one of your follow-ups you suggest that the solution must come from the heart, not from the head. But I think the lesson of embodied cognition is that the intellect is not the disembodied phenomenon that you seem to want to say it is, but an activity that is fully implicated in body, heart, and mind, and extends even into the environment if we take into account various tools that function as mental scaffolding, things like blackboards, notebooks, and computers. Can't we say that cognition extends out into the environment in addition to the intersubjective dimension of cognition? So it seems that if we really want to take a heart-centered approach, we would have to jettison even the Gaia hypothesis as being too objectifying, too reliant on mental constructs. So those are my thoughts. Looking forward to hearing your response.